Good afternoon. Welcome to OptionsTender. It's Wednesday, January 7th, 2025. What a move. Everything's happening just as planned. And when is this going to end? Well, we don't really know, but we have a few guesses. NDX, QQQ, there's two gaps right above. We're in one of them right now. That can be a factor, but I suspect you're not going to get any help from the semiconductors, okay? I think the bubble, the AA bubble, has just topped and popped, okay? So that's a big, bold call, right? But we're going to do a little analysis and show you. So make sure you stick around. We're going to do SPX, SPY. Let's do NDX, SMH for the semiconductors, and then we'll do IBIT, MJ, and we'll even look at Netflix again. Why not? We're going to follow that until all of our trades are knocked out, just to see where we're at. Okay? And VIX also. And then we'll go to the 65 and do a quick finish on SPY. And it's important that we look at the indicators because we made these brand new all-time highs. And so we want to make sure we're on the right track with these divergences and such. So we're doing this intraday about noon Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to get these videos intraday, consider becoming a YouTube supporter. Just helps out the channel. Same with the premium membership. And, you know, I do random videos and a little bit more details each and every day and some game plans with that membership. So let's jump into it. We have SPX on the daily time frame. We've been just following up on this wedge here. So we have a little bit higher on the wedge. Do we come back a little bit? Maybe test the highs and then go for that 7,000, perhaps. I mean, we're 37 points away. That's nothing. Stone's throw away. So we'll see what happens. Do we go straight there? Do we have a throw over? Anything can happen here. But again, I think SMH is going to be kind of the fly in the ointment here. So let's look at NDX and then SMH. Let's go with how we're looking at right here. Okay, so we're going to see everywhere that there's been a breakout. This scenario is over, and you know, people are going to talk about all-time highs and such. It looks like we closed this gap already. So that gap was, it may have not closed on QQQ because of the dividend. So here's the close, 776. So yeah, so this gap closed already, and there's one more gap above. So like we talked about yesterday, if those big tech names, there you go. There's the Qs. They close their gap. So if these big tech names right here start really pushing and give this, you know, what it needs to get higher here, what's going to happen is you're going to get all sorts of bullishness. The breadth of the market's going to be terrible, and it's going to set up a rug pull for us, and that's what again, the game plan is. So we close this gap. We're already so close to this top. I think what we talked about in the last few days is coming into fruition, and we'll get our lower high here for a 1-2 setup. And I'll show you on the Qs in the 65-minute how that might look. And then you can call this a 1-2 setup. So I do see something else going on in here, so we'll talk about that again when we get to the Qs on 65. But here's SMH. All right, so with SMH, we're just kind of lining things up, you know, playing around with trend lines. And this one came about. That's a potential top right there. No, that's not perfect. There we go. So that's a potential top right there. All right. And we play around with some lows, the body, lows here. And that's when you're using these lows, you have the parallel for the bodies there. Not perfect, but again, just some sort of observation. These lows, this wick here, this wick, and you have that top right there. So just a little parallel. Doesn't really matter about that one or not. This is the main trend line that we reversed off of, getting a bearish potential Harami reversal. And we'll be looking for that tomorrow. So make sure you stick around. We do these each and every day. I'll show this again tomorrow and see if we get maybe a double inside day. Do we float around here for a while the rest of the market just kind of finishes off what it's going to do? We already had the blow off top here. Or do we get the actual reversal tomorrow? So we shall see. And let's go back to SPX. And since we made these new all-time highs, let's check out some of the indicators. Here's the breadth indicator. It's clear that it's going down. That's because the big tech names are controlling the market and doing their thing. We've already started to layer in some puts there. So the memberships come with the Discord. They have the trade alerts in there. We've been doing really well. Individual traders as well have been. So come join us in there. Okay. Not much to ask for, and why not take the chance? So we know the breadth this week. We know we're getting all these divergences since the very top. Over and over and over has been climbing here, while strength has weakened. So yesterday we talked about this. In the last 2 days, I think we talked about slow stochastic. Now that we have this new print here, at the end of the day, we'll see this close out. We'll see what this actually does, and I do believe they'll start to curl over. Again, we're in the greens, but with negative divergence. So when we get that red histogram, we'll confirm that divergence. Let's do a demark. I think we should be at 11 count now. So we're at 11. Maybe we have 2 more days going into employment situation where we'd have a 13 top. And the 13 doesn't always have to be like the very top. It can come in after a reversal. So it doesn't have to be the very. So that would be a 913 on the daily setup there. And I think that's coming to life. All right, so you should see this poke around for a little bit more, maybe go up to that 7,000 or so. Let's go over to SPY. So on SPY, we did hit those. We hit that boxed area I've been talking about. We're in that zone, a little bit higher, and we actually hit that 594 as well. But we're in the zone, so that's why we added on some puts for SPY. Yesterday we did the SQQQ. And today we did shorts with the SOXS call. All right. So let's look at the money flow index. Yes, it's rising a bit, but we have that divergence. And what this could do is you could just have sort of this longer one just trend down here. So it could get up to this point and then reverse from there. But the divergence continues. That's distribution. Yes, we're getting up to that Bollinger Band. If we tag that 594, 595 area, that should be a sell signal with overbought conditions with negative divergence. Good setup forming up here. And here is what we talked about anticipating. And we're going to see a lot more of these as well as we go to the lower time frame. Here's that lower high. We talked about this being a 5-wave ending diagonal here. Okay. And we got our peak. Now wave 3. This is 1, 2, 3 to 5. There's your 3 to 5 on this Elliott oscillator. So let's go over to the VIX. And while all this is happening at all-time highs, look what the VIX is doing. We had our low, we had our cycle lows, our minor and our dominant, and now we're pinching 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 5th day pinching between the 20 and the 8 EMA. So I think it's pretty much negated that we're going to actually get any follow through to the downside. I think after this pinch is done, maybe by Friday or so, we should see this as a bull flag, and we continue to rise after that. We're in the rising phase on the daily, weekly, and monthly time frame as well. All right, let's look at, we looked at SMH, so let's look at Netflix. Almost forgot the ticker. So we're in that zone. We have that reversal candle from yesterday, and so that's starting to. We want to see a close above it. So we're fighting with a spinning top right now, but we want to see a close above this candle. That will be a 1 candle buy signal. So keep an eye out for that. Price did get above. It popped up above here and tagged the 8. So it's got some work to do. But again, being pinched between support and the 8 EMA so far. And let's go to Bitcoin. So the question I got today was, was this a bull flag? It's possible. You could get one more high, but you're playing with fire if you're getting into these names. Just like the SPX, just like the overall market, when you start to get towards tops, you see a lot of setups fail. And MicroStrategies was a good one today. That was a heck of a reversal. And that'd be sweet if you got this set up, you jumped into it, and just a big 7% move, and it was all taken away. So back at 4%. So is this do we get continuation? Well, yeah. I mean, if you're going to see Bitcoin go up for its next target here, and you possibly have a 1, 2, 3, and you're getting a 4 and a 5 up there, yeah, you could see strategy pick up, in play catch up. All right, so we'll see. Not something I'm interested in, and then we'll be looking for. Could draw a trend line, I believe, here too. So we're above that trend line, if that's how you look at things. If you look at things like that, you can consider that a back test. What typically happens with a wave 4, though, is you can break out, and then what you're going to have to do is line things up to wherever that peak is, and you can probably draw a channel. So you're going to see wave 2 into 4, and you can draw a channel from wherever that peak, if this was the peak, and then you can kind of move that down and get a feel on where wave 5 could end. So that's one just traditional way of doing technical analysis. But yeah, sure, you could call that a breakout so far, and if it breaks down, then it's a fake break. So far in a bear flag still. Here's MJ. Remember, you can make a case for bullish and bearish all the time. All right. Now here's MJ showing a little life, which is, it's no surprise because the market is topping, and now you should be bottoming here in MJ. And just remember, this thing is ready to take off. And by the way, I do have to apologize. I had to do some research. When you're looking at the yield here, Thinkorswim does a TTM. That's a what do they call it? It's the trailing 12-month TTM. So that's how they calculate that yield out. And there was a big payout some months ago, 6-8 months ago, and so that's factored in there. I think the true dividend is around 2%. Okay, and so that's still fantastic for not as great as I thought it was, from that one-time payment. But still, you get paid for this thing. This is a growth industry. All right. This is going to be a massive move to the upside. And so that dividend's going to be at point something anyway, eventually. So there you have it. We have our A, B, and 5-wave move down for C. And we have a little bit of work to get above these moving averages. But once it does, it should be clear skies at that point. Let's go to SPY on the 65, and then I'll show you the cues. Actually, let me do the cues first, and then I'll do the indicators. All right, so here's what we were looking for. Here was the game plan. Now, do we get a back test? That's kind of what we're looking at right now. So we're closing that gap. We're at the gap close. Do we maybe gap down and then get another move to the upside? I could argue that. I could say that, NVIDIA, Tesla has to bounce. I think Broadcom could bounce higher. There's some names that can pull the market up if you put those together. So watch those big tech names. The Magnificent Seven. This could be done here as well. So this is our kind of updated game plan that we talked about for members. You have this 5-wave move down. This is wave 1 in turquoise. Now your wave 2 could be here, and then we get another 1, and now we completed a wave 2. So you could have a 1-2, 1-2 setup, but that's the that's kind of the backup plan. If we do reverse right now, we're already in puts, we're fine. But I think we go to try to close this next gap up here as well. And so watch those big tech names. They'll tell you what's going to happen, and then you'll get another divergence there on the daily time frame. And so this could be a 1-2. You just got a wave 3 in, and then we'll look for possible consolidation or a little pullback for 4, and then 5 to bring us higher. So this isn't the time frame, that's just a pathway. And if we fail from this point, that's just a that's our backup that we fail from here, and this was a 1-2, 1-2 setup. Now that just makes more sense to me. That's why I had said this in the beginning. And by the way, everybody's going to say this is breaking out. And so, I mean, technically, yes, they're not incorrect, but will it hold or will it fail is the big question. So when we were in this setup here, yeah, this could be nesting, and this could be a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 setup at the time. That's what we talked about. But it just seemed really odd that the market would have some catching up to do. SPX, it's not impossible, but it really makes an awkward situation. So now a 1-2, 1-2 is more appropriate, okay? But I think the easiest is for, and this is what happened in 2022, is you just get this 1-2 setup, okay? And so this is how it should look. Now, here is the caveat. If we go straight up to here, then this was a B. This wasn't a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and we may not even be able to tell if there's a wave 4 or 5 in there. Who cares? This is semantics, but you have your A, B, and so this is a triangle inside of here that drug this on, and so you have an A, B, C, D, and E right here. All right, and that would stop right at the 617. And then you have your 1, 2, and we're on wave 3 right now, and you get this little wave 4, and you get it last push up there for wave 5. All right. So in the B waves can be triangles, flats, all sorts of things. So I think that the most likely situation is that we go to this 887, try to close the gap here, get everybody bulled up for the breakout, and then fail. Okay, and I like this, that this is a triangle in here, and then you get this 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I like that situation. I think it looks a little bit more clean, but I want you to be ready if for some reason we gap down tomorrow and hold the market up here. That would just be a back test, and that would be your 3, 4, 5. Okay, so you see the tail wagging the dog. This has now become the chart to watch, not SMH anymore. I don't think that's going to contribute anymore. Now, it could move sideways a little bit while this finishes, but I hope it finishes today. You know, the sooner the better, for our, especially for our puts. All right, so SPY. And let's just look at some of these indicators here so we can tell what's happening. All right, so you're getting a little pause here. So this could be that situation where the market tops up too. So we're no longer here. So we have hit the conditions. We're at that top here, but SPX is different. We're not quite at that top yet because this has its dividend. So this can continue to throw over. Okay. But maybe if we get this resistance counts, maybe we get that little pullback, and that will represent the same thing that I just talked about on the Qs. So again, we're in the zone for a sell. If we creep up a little bit higher, great. Now we have a direct sell. If we pull back and go up, great. We can, that's satisfied. We can get a sell point again. So we're in the zone. Here's our getting up here. You have that negative divergence. These were the placeholders that I told you about. We got our new high. We got our divergent high. We're overbought with the divergence. Almost, we're at 88. All right, here's your divergence. There was that placeholder that I told you about. All right, we just need to see a red histogram for confirmation of a rollover. And we're getting that early sell here. We get that cross. And if it does pull back a little bit and go up, what it's probably going to look like is just a higher low, back up here, higher low, and kind of have a little triangle there. And then we'll fail after that. Okay, DMARC. Oh, 9 exhaust sell. Okay, so again, the market can go a little bit higher. It can peak at the 9, but it can go a little higher too. Here was the 9 count here, went a little higher, then failed. 13.9 right here, went a little higher, failed. 9 low, perfect. 9 high, we'll see, question mark. 9 high, no, it went a little bit higher and failed. All right, these are good sell signals. 9 right here, that was a 13.9. Went higher, sold. So that's why we have these on here. Okay, now that's a sell. That's a setup. It doesn't mean doing a 0 date option. Give yourself some time. Here's your money flow. There's that placeholder I talked about. New high, lower high, distribution. Bollinger Band. Got your sell signal earlier. I don't know if we'll hit this back up here. It's kind of steep. But if we go sideways for a little bit and it starts to curl, we'll see. We'll see what happens. No real setup for that yet. Although I think SPX does. So. All right. Here's your placeholder that I put there. There's our divergence. It's the same situation that happened here. And even again, right here. You can draw 2 of them. Boom, boom. Doesn't mean you can't go a little higher like this one. You got the divergence there. And then crept down and got a little bit higher, but a lower high here. Okay, so wave 3 into wave 5. All right, let's go to VIX and wrap this up. Okay, here's our VIX. There's our falling wedge. We do have resistance up here. When we do start to break down or out, I have the scenario right there. We'll be looking for 21 to come up pretty quick, probably a wick through, get to 22. We're sort of in this channel right now. To me, this is now, it's really ugly, but somehow we're getting, let me pull these out so we can see this. So if you go in here, you could say nesting, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, that sort of thing. We start to break down from this potential channel here. I think I can match those lows. So if you have this low here, that low there, it's not perfect, but yeah, so you have your channel. We start to break down from lows. Then that scenario where we start to close a gap, or at least one of these gaps or so, then we can see it come down and then go up. And that would mean that the market is going higher. This might be the situation where, again, tomorrow we gap up here in the VIX and the market gaps down, and then it lets the market go higher and it pulls back. Okay? So lots of things that can happen here, but we just need to pay attention. if we gap up here and go to the options expected move, it doesn't mean necessarily that the whole market is breaking down yet. We have to watch for one more possible high. Okay, so just be aware. If we go directly down here, then we know the market's grinding higher. But so far, it's just sticking. All right, so let me let you guys go. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for all the support. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and join us in the Discord. Lots of fun there, and see you there.